Namo Amidabutsu, Namo Amidabutsu, Namo Amidabutsu, Namo Amidabutsu, Namo Amidabutsu.
Good morning. Happy July 12th, I think it is today. As you can see, we have a reduced service. It will also be shorter than the general family services because there's no Dharma school component, although kids are very welcome, and I'm sure they can understand it anyway. We will begin with silent meditation led by Reverend Davenport.
As the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth the seeds that lie dormant in the soil, may the light of wisdom shine into our minds and truly awaken us to our ignorance, and by this insight stir us to strive for a life of deeper understanding and enlightenment. Gasho. Namo Amidabutsu.
Namo
Namo
Amidabutsu.
Amidabutsu.
Namo
Namo
Amidabutsu.
Amidabutsu.
Namo
Namo
Amidabutsu.
Amidabutsu.
Namo Amidabutsu. And now, please turn to page 34 of the service book for Jusege, again led by Reverend Davenport.
Gagon chosegan Hishimu jodo Shigan fumanzo Seifu joshoga Gao muroko Fuidai seishu Fusai shobengu Seifu joshoga Gashi jobundo Myosho chojipo Kukyo mishomon Seifu joshoga Ryokujin shonen Joeshu bongyo Shigumu jodo Isho tenin shi Jinriki endaiko Fusho musaido Shoujo san kumyo Kosai shuyakunan Kaihichi egen Meshi Kusho Akudo Sudan Zen Shumon Koso Jo Manzo Iyoro Jipo Nichigan Shujuki Tenko On Pugen Ishukai Hozo Kosei Kudoku Ho Jo Dai Shuchu Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Boots Gusoku Shutoku Hon Gane Shinjo Man Toku Isan Gayo Nyobun Mugechi Sudan Mi Fusho Gangaku Eri Toshi Sai Shoson Shiganya Koka Daisen no Kando Koku Shotenin Touchin Myoke Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Gani Shiku Doku Byodo Seisai Dohon Bodai Shin Ojo Anrako. Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo
Namo
Amida
Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Namo
Butsu.
Amida Butsu.
Namo
Naman Dabuts. Naman Dabuts. Naman Dabuts.
And now my list here says introduction of speaker. I don't think too many people here needs to be introduced, but Reverend Sterling Davenport will now give us our Dharma talk.
Thank you, Kaytee. Please join me in Gasho as I read the words of Shinran Shonin from Jodo Wasan 98. When we say Namo Amida Butsu, which surpasses all virtues, our heavy obstructions of evil, past, present, and future, are all unfailingly transformed becoming light. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabutsu. Namandabutsu. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, spilling coffee over a laptop. I can say personally, it's not the best experience in the world. But today I want to talk about obstacles, because we all have them. They pop up throughout our lives in a myriad of ways. But before I begin with my talk, I want to start with a question to give us something to think about. And that is, how do we resolve the difficulties we might experience? Or how do we handle obstacles that come up in our lives? And for all of us, we'll always encounter obstacles. No matter how perfect or easy or smooth sailing our life will be, obstacles always come up. It could be something really small and inconvenient. For example, a delayed appointment when you're at the doctor, unexpected traffic, or maybe a change of plans from what it was supposed to happen originally. Other times, obstacles can be more serious, more intense, and have more value, more weight in your life. Something like grief, financial hardship, family conflict, or even the death of a loved one or the loss of a job. And many times when these difficulties arise in our life, we may ask ourselves all the same question. Why is this happening to me right now in my life? Why does this have to happen to me? We may even look at other people's lives and go, they have it so much better. Everything's perfect. You know, especially nowadays with the invention of the internet, with Instagram and Facebook, it's easy to see a perfect or idealized life when someone's showing you only the best highlights of their life on the internet. And many of these obstacles may seem to arrive without warning, out of the blue. They would interrupt our carefully planned days, our plans for the weekend, and they might remind us that life is rarely exactly as we want it to be. You know, looking backward, we often convince ourselves that everything could have been prevented, that everything could have gone differently had we just made a different decision or choice. And we might even replay the situation over and over in our minds, assigning blame to ourselves, to others, or maybe just looking at our circumstance and blaming the situation itself. But no matter what, Buddhism actually asks us to look at these obstacles differently, to change the question we ask. I'm a big Calvin and Hobbes person, so I love their cartoons. So we might live our lives with the illusion of control. And if you've never seen this cartoon, he says, so you want some water, huh? Well, I've got a big can of it here. It's up to me to decide if you get water or not. I control your fates. Your lives are in my hands. Without me, you're as good as dead. Without me, you don't. And then it just starts raining. And for many of us, we might live our lives thinking, I have control. I make my decisions. I choose what happens in my life and what's going on. But just like this cartoon, it's very rarely the case. We very seldom have complete control of our lives, our situations, or even how people interpret our thoughts and feelings. So in Buddhism, we're invited to ask a new question. Rather than asking, how could I have avoided this obstacle or this problem? We are asked to begin asking, what is this experience teaching me? What can I learn from this obstacle? You know, when we think about the Buddha's teachings, he taught that much of our suffering stems from our attachments, our prejudices, and what causes us to suffer more than the situation allows is because we try to resist the reality of what's really happening. Our judgments may make us feel as if we have control, yet they also become the source of much of our suffering. Our perception is what adds to the suffering we experience. And the difficulty is not simply that something unpleasant happened. The difficulty is that the reality that failed to obey to our perceptions, our control. Now, plans are good. It's always good to have a goal, to have something to strive for. But it's also important not to control every situation or to believe you have complete control. And a good example of this was when I was traveling with my wife a couple years ago. So we had a plane flight to go to visit Austin, Texas, where my wife's brother was moving. And back then, we were living in Murrieta. We were driving to the airport, and I had planned 2 hours to get to San Diego Airport. I was like, 2 hours is all we need. San Diego Airport's really nice. You just get on the airport, you get on your plane, 5 minutes, it's easy. And so we get in the car, and immediately to my surprise, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there is traffic on a Friday, which is just mind-boggling. I'm like, where are these people? Why aren't they working? And so, you know, my anxiety is starting to stir up a little bit. I'm like, okay, we're going to be a little late. It'll be okay. We're still going to be there on time. We had decided we didn't want to park our car at the airport, so we actually parked it at my wife's father's house. And then we were going to take an Uber, because you know, you just take an Uber from Mira Mesa down to the airport. It's going to be super easy. So we get there, and we still have an hour of time to get ready for the airplane. So everything's still fine. I'm a little anxious because, you know, we're not there as early as I wanted to be. But we get there, and so I immediately call an Uber. And just like this photo, the Uber says, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And you cannot believe how long 5 minutes lasts when it turns into 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And what I like about Uber is that when you have the app open, it shows you where the car is going, right? And instead of the car coming my direction, the car is traveling farther and farther away from where I'm at. So as you can tell, I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, oh man, we're going to be really late. This car isn't even coming near me. Maybe I'll cancel it. Maybe I'll figure out a new way to get there. Maybe we'll take a taxi. But my wife was trying to calm me down because, again, I'm realizing that I have no control over this situation. I'm either going to make it or not. And I've never missed a flight in my entire life, so this would have been a brand new experience for me. So eventually the Uber did come, and then we get on the road. Traffic's still bad, but the GPS says we're still going to get there with 20 minutes to spare. And I'm looking at my GPS, not that I'm driving, but just to look at every minute that's passing as we're not getting closer and closer fast enough. And you cannot believe what happened next. We hit the coaster, and the coaster just starts going right in front of us. And so I have to sit there for another 10 minutes contemplating how late I am, because if you've ever seen the coaster in San Diego, you can see the airport right past the train. The airport's right there. But you are stuck behind a long train that's just going to go and go and go. And so this is a good example of how no matter how much I planned, I was going to get there early. We got an Uber. We were going to park our car. No matter what, everything just kept going wrong. Well, for me, it kept going wrong. And so we hurried. We were running as soon as we got to the airport, ran through security, get to the terminal, and believe it or not, everyone's sitting down relaxing. I'm hyperventilating because we had just sprinted all the way across the airport, but the plane hadn't even taken off yet. They weren't even boarding. And so for the next 10 minutes, because our plane was late, I just sat there and relaxed and realized, why am I so stressed out? We're about to go on vacation. But this is a good example. You know, no matter how much we plan in life, so many things can pop up. Maybe not a train, maybe not an Uber ride, but random occurrences can happen that can take you from having complete control, comfort, and patience to really causing you the most anxiety you've ever had, even when you're getting ready to go somewhere fun like a vacation. And looking back, as I eventually got on the plane and we flew and we had a great trip, I realized that what was causing my suffering and my anxiety was not the Uber or the coaster. It was that I kept thinking that I was in control. I was going to get there at a certain time. We were going to get there and plan for everything. We would even have lunch while we were there. But it was my attachment to how I wanted things to go and how they should have unfolded that was really causing me the suffering. It wasn't all these external factors. Life had simply unfolded differently than how I perceived or preferred it to happen. And it's moments like these that remind us that careful planning is valuable, but complete control is utterly impossible. We should certainly prepare as best as we can for everything that comes with our life, but we also need the wisdom to accept that the countless causes and conditions exist beyond our control. And we just need to accept it. We need to have the freedom to be comfortable with not controlling everything around us. So in Jodo Shinshu, we have a word called Mugeko, which is often translated as the light of no obstacles. And rather than meaning that obstacles are gone and there are no obstacles in our life, this phrase points us to a wisdom that illuminates our obstacles differently. I like to think of it as the it is what it is principle. Life's going to happen, it's going to do what it wants, and you're there for the ride, even if you feel like you're driving the car the entire time. So this does not mean that we just stop caring or stop trying. It means that we stop demanding that reality conform to our expectations. Before we allow ourselves to experience an event, we prepare ourselves with knowing that the event is going to happen the way it does. We can influence our decisions and guide the way we go, but ultimately we're on that roller coaster trying to experience it for what it is. So instead of asking, why is this obstacle in my way, we can begin asking ourselves, what can this obstacle reveal about my own attachments, my own perceptions of my life? And by doing this, we can start to see obstacles as teachers rather than our enemies, things that can teach us more about ourselves even if they're uncomfortable to experience. Shinran Shonin has a great quote from the Koso Wasan, which says, "Obstructions of karmic evil turn into virtues. It is like the relation of ice and water. The more ice, the more water. The more the obstructions, the more virtues." Much like ice and water not being different things, ice is just simply water in another form, our obstacles are not separate from our own awakening, our own ability to realize true compassion and enlightenment. These very experiences that we wish to avoid often become the conditions with which our wisdom can grow and be nourished. It doesn't mean that suffering's good, it just means that when we are suffering, we need to experience it as what it is. Shinran reminds us that when hardship inevitably comes, as it comes to everyone, it does not have to be a wasted endeavor or a painful experience. Instead, it can be part of our own awakening. One of the great Pure Land masters, Vasubandhu, expressed a similar insight when he says, "Time does not pass in vain." Every moment, every uncomfortable moment, every happy moment contains the possibility of wisdom. Every disappointment teaches us something about our attachments. And every delay reveals something about our impatience, like me waiting for this coaster to move and the Uber to arrive. Even our failures, the things that we strive to avoid, can become opportunities to deepen our own compassion for ourselves and for those around us. What Vasubandhu is encouraging us is to take refuge in the working of the wisdom that shines everywhere on everyone at all times, and to not waste any moment, even as unpleasant as it may be. And this light that shines on all of us is the light of Amida Buddha, the light of compassion, which although we may not recognize it in moments when we're anxious and excited or enraged, is still there, still present in our life. That is why in Jodo Shinshu we recite the Nembutsu at any times. When you're happy, when you're sad, when you're in temple, even when you're angry, you can say the Nembutsu. It reminds us to have the immeasurable wisdom and compassion to embrace everything around us, the positive and the negative. It changes our perspective from saying please, and it changes it to say thank you, even to the things that make us uncomfortable. So these become opportunities to discover patience where we have impatience, humility where we have pride, gratitude where we are frustrated, and compassion when we're judging everything as it's going poorly. So when we think, how do we resolve difficulties? How do we make these experiences teachers? We realize that we can learn from them not by eliminating every obstacle or trying to prevent them, not by controlling every circumstance, but instead by allowing life to unfold the way it wants to, the way it already is. We can resolve our difficulties by allowing us to have the wisdom to see them and encounter them for what they are, teachers that guide us to our own awakening. As our perception changes, then these obstacles can also become the path to our own enlightenment, no longer imprisoning us, but instead awakening us to every moment that happens. That is why in Jodo Wasan, which I shared at the beginning today, Shinran Shonin says, when we say Namo Amida Butsu, which surpasses all virtues, our heavy obstructions of evil, both past, present, and future, are unfailingly transformed, becoming light. No matter what the obstacle is, no matter the unpleasant experience, it too can become a teacher to teach us greater compassion, understanding, and to really help us along our path, no matter as unpleasant as they are in the moment. Please join me in Gasho as I read once more the words of Shinran Shonin. When we say Namo Amida Butsu, which surpasses all virtues, our heavy obstructions of evil, past, present, and future, are all unfailingly transformed, becoming light. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Dabbits, Naman Dabbits.
Thank you, Sensei, for your message. Will everybody please stand now for the Gatha Ondoksan? We will be accompanied by the Schmidt family. It's on page 128. Please remain standing for the English translation. We will do that as our recitation for today. It can be found on page 129. The debt of gratitude I owe to Amida's great compassion, I will proclaim until my life disintegrates into dust. The debt of gratitude I owe to my Dharma teachers, I will express until my bodily form is finally shattered. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated. And now, for announcements, I will start off because I have two that I have been assigned to give. First coming up, August 29th, there's the Tri-Temple Seminar, and I believe these are down on the office ledge there. You can sign up for it. It is the MA program, Receiving the Dharma and Supporting the Sangha. We'll have Reverend Michael Jones from San Jose Buddhist Church with Reverend Sasaki, Reverend Kawai, that's Noriko, Arturo Rubio, Certified Minister's Assistant, Yukari Williams, also Certified Minister Assistant, and our own Reverend Sterling Davenport. And registration, like I said, is down in the office. Also, coming up, it's in your July newsletter, the Kiyashiki Affirmation Ceremony, and that will be on Sunday, September 20th, our 100th anniversary service, but it will take place before the service at 9 o'clock. Again, it's something you need to sign up for, and I think it's in the office. I can't read this, sorry. But I believe it's in the office, or you can go to the website. Okay, any other announcements? We start with Bill.
Thank you, Kaytee. When you're in the office taking a look at the different sign-up sheets, please notice the one for our next session of Shukatsu, which is coming up on Saturday, July 25th at 3 p.m. It's a really interesting topic. Julia Gomez from Naviguide, which is a subdivision of Elder Care San Diego, is presenting a program that they run which allows seniors to stay in their home, in other words, age in place, as opposed to being put into a facility. There are certainly options available to people who are either caretakers or who are aging themselves and want to make such arrangements. So I really recommend it. And of course, as always, it'll be moderated and commented on by Dr. Mitz Tomita, who has organized these seminars for your benefit. Thank you very much.
Good morning. The temple will be participating in the Interfaith Neighbor Helping Neighbor food drive that benefits the San Diego Food Bank. And the drive-through will be on August 8th between 9 and 11. But what we encourage you to do is, in the meantime, if you come to Obon practice or Obon services, please bring a can of food or some non-perishable food to share. They also are collecting diapers and baby supplies also this year. So we encourage you to participate. Thank you.
Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Juliana and I'm part of Junior YBA. So today I want to announce Junior YBA is hosting our annual opportunity drawing. Our top prize is $500 and we'll have many other prizes. One ticket costs $5 and a book of 4 tickets is $20. Find me or any other Junior YBA member to buy your tickets. I should be at hospitality and also our Obon dance practice, so you can meet me then. I am able to take cash and check, and we will draw all the tickets towards the end of Obon Day at around 8:45 p.m. So you do not need to be there to win, so find me to buy your tickets. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you this morning. Just to add to what Kaytee mentioned about the Keishiki, the name Buddhist name ceremony, the deadline to register will be on July 26th. So please, if you'd like to sign up, please do so in the office, and there is a application form downstairs. And Reverend Marvin Harada, the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America, will be officiating that ceremony at our service on the September 20th. It's Obon season, and so if you're interested in going to visit some of the Obons in Southern California and throughout the areas, this handy guide put together by the Nichibei Times newspaper is available downstairs in the office and in the foyer. So please pick one up and check it out. There's 100. There are a lot of Obons going on at this time of the year up until through August. So please take one and see the Obon news. Lastly, we're continuing to collect donations to help assist Reverend and Mrs. Hata, who were victims of a scam last year. And we will continue to accept your donations, monetary donations, for another 2 weeks. And then the proceeds that have been received will be sent to the Higashi Honganji in Los Angeles and will be given to the Hata family. Okay, thank you.
And I think there is Obon dance practice today, Sue? At what, 12? Or 11:30? 11. Well, get over there and dance after service. They'll teach you how if you don't know already. So I believe that is the end of the service. You're welcome to offer incense and then go dance. We will have minister's assistants and I believe Reverend Davenport all available. You have your choice of English, Japanese, or Spanish if you need your to answer your questions. All of them speak English, by the way.